Hey guys, it's Brooke, and this is the Simply Lovely vlog, episode 4. I am super excited to talk about this subject because it is definitely the subject that I have struggled with the most, and it is over control. Trying to control your situations, trying to control the people around you, and letting your self-worth be determined by the world and everyone in it. And I just want to speak truth into you guys' life about this subject because it definitely rolls into you achieving your goals and like moving forward in life. Like, you have to be free from the bondage that this world sets on us. And so I want to do that today. Like, I want to let you free and let you determine who you are, not based on what the world says, not based on your situations or the people around you, but based on you and how you look at yourself, and for you to just look deep within yourself and become who you want to be. And so excited to talk about this. So I'm just gonna jump right in. Okay, so let's be 100% completely honest. Sometimes life sucks. You know, circumstances suck, people suck, and how do we respond? Like, how do we respond when things happen that we would rather wouldn't? When, you know, a bad situation comes up, or someone hurts us in a deep way, or someone offends us, how do we respond? And for me, like, right off the top of my head, I automatically know if someone gave me an attitude, I'm going to give an attitude back. Like, you're going to disrespect me, I'm going to disrespect you. Someone is hurtful, we get angry or we get sad and we react in that manner. Someone does you wrong, we become revengeful and bitter, and we definitely want to burn them in return. And why is that? Like, why do we fight fire with fire? And the answer is so easy. We are all human beings. Like, we all sin. We all react from our fleshly lives rather than our spiritual lives. It's the easiest choice to make. It's the most natural choice to make. And so it's also something that we feel we deserve. Like, well, that person treated me this way, why should I treat them better? You know, or that person did this to me, why shouldn't I make them feel my hurt, make them feel my pain? And for the longest time, you know, I lived this way. And I let it absolutely control my life. Like, I was who the situation was. I was who the person was. So I reacted in the negative manner that the world gave me or the people around me gave me. And why shouldn't we do this? Why should we react in kindness when someone is hateful to us? Why should we react with forgiveness when someone, you know, backstabs us or does us wrong? Why should we react in the total opposite way they are reacting? You should do this for yourself. That's the answer. Why should we try harder? You should try harder for you. Because let's just be honest, and I'll kind of get a little bit transparent here. I obviously can't go into my whole life story of how much I've struggled with rejection and abandonment, because it would probably take me all day. But I've definitely struggled with this, especially in the last 7 years, with both of my parents, with my husband. Just really bad. I felt abandoned and alone, and I didn't feel like I had a safe place. I did have a safe place at a point. It was, you know, somewhere I could go, somewhere I could be. I wouldn't think about anything negative, but it was taken from me. And so at one point in my life, I I had completely lost myself. I had no idea who I was because everything around me just felt like it was crumbling. The people that I thought were supposed to protect me and love me and keep me safe the most were doing the exact opposite, and for long periods of time. So, for 7 years, I struggled with this. 7 years with my parents, and about 5 with my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time. And then some portion of it was my husband. He was my husband. And so 7 years, like imagine, 7 years of buildup, 7 years of confusion and of anger and sadness. And I got to a point to where I had no self-worth. Like I didn't understand why someone wouldn't protect me. Like I didn't understand why someone couldn't fully love me, why other things were more important to me. Like why were they choosing other things over me? Why am I not enough? I'm doing everything. And if any of you guys know me, I'm super friendly. You'll rarely ever see me mad. I bet I have friends who have never even seen me mad. I'm just the happy go-getter, the friend that's always smiling, the friend that never has problems, and the friend you continuously go to with your problems. That was always me. And I just seemed like I had it all together. And I got to a point to where my life was crashing so much that I couldn't even hold my identity. Like that was who I was. I was so sweet. I was so caring. I was so happy. I couldn't even be that anymore because my whole life was just crumbling around me. I was completely out of control. I didn't know how to handle being out of control that way. I'm pretty OCD. And I get overwhelmed very quickly, and I've kind of already told you guys about that. And so with a whole bunch of big situations, and these weren't just minor, oh, I broke my window, and then I slipped and fell in a puddle, and then, they weren't minor things like that. They were life-changing, huge events that were completely damaging the inside of me for 7 years, just ongoing things. So anyways, enough about that. The point that I wanted to tell you guys is I deserved happiness. This was my mindset of I just deserve happiness. I deserve to love myself. I deserve for other people to love me. I deserve inner peace. I deserve all of these things. Not only from my parents, not only from my husband, but from myself as well. I didn't even love myself. I wasn't even enough for myself. I didn't appreciate myself. And I deserved it. I deserved to be loved, at least by someone, anyone. And I deserved to be worth it. I deserved to be the world to somebody. I deserved for someone to protect me. And I deserved all these things. And I just came to a point in my life where I just asked myself the question, how can I expect someone to do all these things and be all these things for me when I cannot even do it for myself? I can't even protect myself. I can't even love myself. I can't even appreciate all the wonderful gifts that God's given me because I'm so consumed in controlling the world and controlling all the people in it. And in all honesty, trying to play God. Trying to pretend like I had all this power inside of me, that I was more than just a girl, that I could just snap my fingers and things would go how I want them to go. And so, the point of this is, I read a book called The Uninvited book, and it opened my eyes to the truth of the rejection that I was having and the abandonment issues that I was going through. And it fit perfectly in with taking control of the wrong things And that's like the main topic of this, is taking control of the wrong things. So I just want to read you guys a couple of things out of this book, and just see if you can relate, because it totally spoke to me. Okay, so on page 17, it says, the exhausting manipulation and control it takes to protect an identity based on circumstances will crush our hearts and hide the best of who we are behind a wall of insecurity. So if we live our whole lives trying to base who we are, how we feel, and what we are going to do with our lives and with ourselves on circumstances and on other people, we will be crushed. The world will collapse on us. Our hearts will be crushed. It'll feel like our chest is being crushed. Like, have you guys ever felt that? Like, where the weight is so heavy and you are so out of control that you literally feel pain in your heart. Like, it is a literal feeling. You're not just saying my heart hurts or my heart's broken. Like, it really is. You can really feel it. Like, your chest is so tight. You're crying. You're in so much pain because these feelings have completely taken over your body. Like, they have taken over your body. Like, I've totally been there. And so we get this way because we allow everything else to control us, but we don't take control of ourselves. And so, ladies, that's the step we're going to make today. We will no longer allow the world or the people in it to control us. We are women. We are powerful. We are strong. We are wise. And we are more than capable of being in control of ourselves. And so we just got to love ourselves enough to learn to heal our own souls. We have to fall in love with ourselves and learn to heal the wounds that the world gives and the people in it. So obviously, like, how do we do this? So I have 5 awesome points for you guys on how to do it. But before I get into those points, I took a couple extra notes down that I just wanted to share with you guys. I have taken this concept of letting go of control of the world and just being in control of myself, and I've applied it into my life. And so I'm going to share some examples of where I've applied it to. And obviously I'm not perfect at this, and that I still have a lot of wounds that are big and that are deep and that I'm trying so hard to tackle and figure out how to control and how to handle. It's a time, like it takes time. It's a process. But I have taken some control over things, and so I just wanted to share them with you. One is in the way that I dress. So like, I'm always fully covered. Like, if you see me, you'll never see my boobs hanging out. You'll never see my butt hanging out. Like, I am very modest, and I've chosen to be that way. And the world around me, you know, and the girls my age, or even girls that aren't my age, girls that are way younger or girls that are way older, our generation and the world around us has kind of said that sexy or attractive women have to be uncovered, you know, like, or, oh, like, she's hot. Well, when you look at her and she's so hot, you know, normally she doesn't have a lot of clothes on. And so, I guess we're a world that, like, wants to show our bodies. And so even though that's going around me, and, like, you know, sometimes I do have thoughts because I'm a girl. There's insecurity inside of me. I want to be known. I want attention. It's just in our DNA. And so I could show all of my body parts. I could draw attention to myself. or become the women the world wants to see. And especially based on my feelings and pains of not feeling like enough, I could conform to the world around me, but I've chosen not to. I have my own style. I have my own plans for my life and how I want to be portrayed and how I want to be seen. And one of those huge things for me is I want my husband to be the only one that sees those parts of me, the parts that are covered. I want those to be his secret treasures and something that he knows that he's the only one who's ever seen. And that's something that I've grabbed a hold of control of and not letting the world shake from me. Another one is in my business. So I haven't started my business. I'm in the process of it. It's, a lengthy process like anything that's going to be successful. Fingers crossed. But one of the things that I struggle with is pricing because, like I've said, I'm opening a daycare. And so daycares are expensive. Like childcare is expensive. And when you sit down and look at the amount of hours your child's there and the amount of care it takes, they're really not that expensive. But when you sit down and look at your monthly budget, they're huge. They're a huge hole in it. And so the whole reason that I felt called to start this business of owning a daycare was that I wanted to bless families with cheaper childcare. Like, even if I wasn't making a lot of money, like even if I was barely making enough to pay my bills, I wanted to do this. It was my passion. It's what I felt God was calling me to change families' lives, to provide something that could really impact their lives. And so I've been struggling with it because I'm like, no, money. Like, world tells me money. I need to have a lot of money. I need to be rich. That's where I'm going to find my worth. That's when people are going to respect me. That's when they're going to love me and want to be in my presence. But no, like, I have stayed firm in knowing that this is what I decided that I wanted to do. This is why I decided that I wanted to do this. And regardless of what the world tells me, regardless of what the people around me tell me, I am going to do what I feel God has called me to do, and that is this. So that's another thing. So, ladies, I could lay in bed, my chest feeling tight, my heart aching, and my body and my soul just don't want to face the day. Like, I've had days like that where I just don't want to get up. Like, I'm in so much pain. How can I take care of 2 little kids and my husband when I can't even take care of myself? Like, it's just too much. It's just too much. But here's another thing that I decided to do. But I don't stay in bed. I wake up in the morning at 5 a.m. I take care of my life. I work out. I pray. I educate myself through books. I plan. I grow. Because I am not a victim. I'm a queen. I'm not a victim of what the world has done to me. I'm not a victim of what everyone else has done to me. I am who God says I am. I am who I say that I am. I can do anything that I want to do. I can be as successful as I want. I can be unsuccessful if I want. Like, this is my life, and I refuse to play the victim. I did for years. I let the world control me. I let everyone else control me. And I played the victim card. Like, I felt sorry for myself. I felt that I deserved more. I felt that everyone needed to give that to me because, dang it, no one has, and I needed it and I deserved it. And I completely changed my mind of thinking and decided that I'm not the victim, I'm the queen. And so, here are the 5 steps to stop playing the victim, take hold of who you are, learn to heal your own soul, and make life easier and make your name more successful. Okay, point number 1 is with the fruit of the Spirit. This is my absolute favorite thing in the Bible. And if you're not Christian, if you're not spiritual at all, even if you don't believe in God, these things are just kind of common things. Like when you hear them, you're like, oh yeah, like that's common sense. That is how we should be. But they are so life-changing because a lot of the time we are not these things. And so actually I have this scripture, all the fruits of the Spirit, on my lock screen on my phone. So I see it every time I look at my phone, and it's really nice and really refreshing, and it just reminds me of who I need to be regardless of where the world is or where the people are around me. So the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Okay, listen to the last one because this is a huge point in our topic and in this episode. Self-control, ladies. It is in the Bible. It is one of the fruit of the Spirit. Self-control. Not control over everyone or everything, but control over yourself. Point number 2 is Jesus's example to us through stories of Jesus's walk on earth. And so I'm a Christian, so I do get a little deeper into it with my religion because I'm super passionate about it, if you don't already know. But even if you weren't religious, like just listen to Jesus and tell me that this isn't a person that would make you smile. This isn't a person who would make you feel welcome, who wouldn't brighten your day. So I'm just going to give you a few examples of things that are in the Bible. He cleaned feet. So this was something back then that only the lowest of people did. Like you didn't clean feet unless you were 100% a slave. Like people had no respect for you. You probably weren't even considered human. It was the lowest of people. And the king of the world got down on his hands and knees and washed people's feet. And do you understand, like back then, shoes weren't a common thing. So these people walked everywhere. And my husband has a foot fetish, and like he barely touches my feet. And I wear shoes and slippers all day. I don't even step on the ground. And Jesus did this to people who had the dirtiest of feet, and he's doing a service that only the lowest of servants would do. So he showed humility and service, and he also cleaned the feet of a man that he knew would betray him. So not only did he clean, his friend's feet, he cleaned the disciples' feet, but he also cleaned the feet of a man that he knew would sell him to the people for him to be crucified. So he literally sold Jesus out and let Jesus die for a few coins. Like that's what happened. And he cleaned this man's feet knowing that this man was going to do this. He also ate with sinners. So he showed compassion to everyone. And I mean, you could have the worst of the worst people, and Jesus was eating with them, being compassionate to them, showing friendship to people who definitely did not deserve it. He befriended the outcasts, or the lepers. So lepers were people who had skin diseases. And so these people were so hated, and their towns were disgusted with them so much that they weren't even allowed to live in their town. They had to live outside of their town. And when they came into town, they had to yell continuously, unclean. Like yell it, like out loud, I'm unclean, unclean, unclean. The whole time they were in town. That way, everyone in town knew not to come near where they were. Like, they were people that no one no one associated themselves with. And Jesus befriended them. And not only did he do that for them, but he healed them. He healed them of the skin disease. And so he just showed love. He showed love to people that no one else would. Like, no one else would love these people, and Jesus did. He was the king of the entire world, and yet loved and served others far greater than any servant. He literally died on the cross. So guys, like, seriously, if you're not even religious, and even if you are, sometimes I feel like we forget the depth of who Jesus is and what he did for us. Would you do that for people who hated you? Those who felt they didn't need you nor want you? Those who tortured you and humiliated you? Like, would you do that for people like that? We can't even give them kindness, let alone give our life for them. Like, all we want is revenge, and all we want to feel for them is bitterness and anger. And Jesus loved them, and he served them, and he died on the cross in a brutal death, a horrible, horrible death for these people that didn't appreciate him, that hated him, that mocked him. He did that for them. And sometimes we just don't comprehend the reality of this, that Jesus is real. His spirit is real. He lives within us, and we are equipped with the spirit of Jesus. We are more than capable of serving others and of loving others and befriending others regardless of how they act towards us. Page 161 of the Uninvited book says that people laughed at Jesus. People rejected Jesus. People misunderstood him. He understands. He teaches us from that tender place of knowing this pain personally. So Jesus felt the things that we feel. He felt rejection. Like, he felt abandonment. He felt all these things. He knows that these feelings are real, but he also knows how to handle these situations. And he was that example for us in the Bible. And so that is huge, huge, guys. Also, Isaiah 26, 3 through 4, you will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you. Trust in the Lord forever, for the Lord himself is the rock eternal. And I love this scripture and wanted to share it with you because the world definitely changes. People change, seasons change, circumstances change, but the Lord and all his promises do not. They don't. So regardless of what's going on around you or what's happening to you or inside of you, God's promises are still there. And if you don't know them, I definitely recommend you open your Bible and check out who God is and what he has in store for you. Number 3 is self-leadership. I love this. I love it so much. So self-leadership is the practice of intentionally influencing your thinking, feeling, and behaviors to achieve your objectives. The moment you take 100% responsibility for everything in your life is the same moment you claim the power to change everything in your life. Okay, guys, I have to say that slower, and you have to pay attention because this is going to change you completely. The moment you take 100% responsibility for everything in your life is the same moment you claim the power to change anything in your life. And so I just wanted to point out that this is different than blame. Like, don't blame yourself. Don't say, well, my husband went and did this because I can't cook well enough, or I'm not beautiful enough, or he got bored with me. Like, no, it's not blame. Like, we're not taking blame for it. Blame determines who is at fault for something. but responsibility determines who is committed to improving a situation. So we're not taking blame. We're not taking fault for what happened. But ladies, we will take responsibility. And we will be committed to improving our situation. So if you struggle with marriage, get books, people with good marriages to take advice from. Apologize when it isn't your fault. And that goes in with like choosing your battles wisely. Like, good gosh, we don't need to have a war over, my husband not putting the toilet seat down, or like my husband not cleaning up his mess. Small things like that. Like pick your battles wisely. If it's not a huge deal, let it go. Like if you can apologize and it's something that is just silly and worthless, apologize. Like be the bigger person. Like take some, be committed. Be committed to your marriage. Be committed to bettering it, not being right. Another one is like, another good example is like with your health. Like turn down the piece of cake. Like say, no, thank you. Go to a birthday party, just don't eat the cake. Hit the gym. Go to the gym at least once a week, twice a week. Take a yoga class. Just do something. Take a walk. Like you are in 100% control of your body. Like do good things to it. The last thing, or number 4, not the last thing. Number 4 is apply. So it's easy to obtain information, but it's hard to put that information and that wisdom into play. We're done not putting it into play. Like what we learn, we will apply to our lives. I have this great quote, and it is, access without application will not equal transformation. So you can have all the access in the world. You can read as many Pinterest blogs as you want and obtain all this information. You can read books, you can take advice from people, all of these things. But if you don't apply them to your life, you will not see transformation anywhere. There's no point to have knowledge in your brain, wisdom on any topic where you're struggling if you're not going to apply it in your life. So I had a good analogy came to me. What if the sun rose without shining? What if we watered plants but they didn't grow? They would be useless. Eventually we would stop letting the sun rise if we had the control to do so. And we would stop watering the plants. Like, I'm not going to waste my time reading all these books. I'm not going to waste my time getting all this advice. I'm not going to waste my time, getting into all these blogs and trying to figure out, what to do to make my situation better, or what to do to make me better, or to improve this area of my life, if I'm not even going to do anything with it. Like, it's a complete waste of time. So if you don't apply, you'll stop learning and you'll forever be unsatisfied. And number 5 is grace. I love to apply this in all areas of my life because I'm one of those people that's just extra hard on myself. And I know there's a ton of people out there like that. So what we need to understand is that every day won't be a success. Some days, like this last Friday, I broke down and cried. I just felt so out of control. I seriously had a mini panic attack, and it felt like so much, like just the world was on me, caving in me. And like I told you, I still have really deep wounds that haven't healed yet. And I'm working hard and I'm in the process to heal them, but that doesn't mean that I can't feel them. That doesn't mean that they don't hurt. And so I did, I just had a breakdown, but I forgave myself. I'm hurting, I'm lost, I'm pretty broken, but I'm also equipped with the fruit of the Spirit, with the example of Christ, and with the ability to be a self-leader. So, guys, and instead of Saturday, I broke down Friday night. Instead of Saturday, just wanting to stay in bed and feeling crushed and just not wanting to get up, just wanting to sleep all day and forget my problems and be pretty much useless and play the victim. Instead of doing that, I woke up at 4 a.m. And so usually my goal is to wake up at 5 a.m. But no, I woke up at 4 a.m. I spent all that time, until my kids woke up, my kids don't wake up until 8. So I spent 4 hours reading, planning, and growing. And I took that extra hour because I needed it to refresh and to heal. So instead of lying in bed, instead of playing the victim, I even got up an extra hour early because I knew I needed extra that day. Because I was broken and I was really feeling the pain and the overwhelmingness of being so hurt. And so I took it. And I could have kept sleeping. I could have stayed in bed until I absolutely couldn't anymore. Until the kids were crying, begging me for food and attention. Because trust me, I feel like that sometimes. I just feel like I just don't want to take care of them. I don't want to take care of my husband. I don't want to take care of myself. And I just want to lay in bed. And I could have did that. I could have played the victim. But I wasn't. I was a queen. And so I actually have a bonus tip for you guys. It's to simplify. Start small, if that helps. Because I know when you're just so lost and you're so broken, and you start reading all these books and you get all these tips, honestly, sometimes it's just a lot. You're like, I'm not that strong yet. How can I do this? It's almost as overwhelming to start as it is to, feel the pressure of the weight of the world on your shoulders. So start small. Wake up in the morning and simply pray for your marriage. Read one chapter in a marriage book and give your husband an extra kiss today. Even if you're mad, or wake up in the morning, do a quick stretch or yoga pose. Do 30 seconds or a minute worth of jumping jacks, push-ups, or crunches. Drink 1 glass of water and turn down 1 piece of sweetness. That takes no time at all. It takes a little extra effort, but you're still moving forward. You're still making progress. So whatever your struggle is, whatever your issue is, just find a few small things that you can do tomorrow that'll get you closer to where you want to be in your future. You don't have to do it all, but you can't do nothing. You have to do something. And suddenly, once you start doing all these things, life is in your control. Because although you're not controlling the world around you, or you're not controlling the people, you're controlling yourself. You're controlling how you react to the world. You're controlling how you react to the people. And suddenly, you're completely in control. So thank you guys so much for tuning in with me. I really hope you got as much out of this as I did. See you guys next time.